Jeddah to Sokoto using Flynas with 28,223. That is taking that as follows. We had 295 that are from FCT, we have 5 from Delta State and 1 from River State. We also had a Flynas that departed Jeddah to Sokoto at 5:38 hours, which is early this morning, taking with 428 pilgrims of Sokoto State. That's flight number 75, taking the total to 28,952. Flight number 76, we had Jeddah to Kaduna using Azman Air with 403 pilgrims and 6 officials. Out of the 403, we had 278 from Nasarawa State. Jigawa and the armed forces have 124 and just a single one for the armed forces. There is 124 for Jigawa and a single one for the armed forces. The last flight for today, as at the time of filing this report at 12, as at the time of filing this report, we had a flight that departed. That is a Saudi time, because when I said 12:48 hours, so it's not Nigerian time, it's still 11:30 something here in Nigeria. So at 12:48 hours Saudi Arabian time, we had 549 pilgrims of Katsina State and 9 officials that departed the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that is Jeddah. This is flight number 77. So the total number of airlifts so far we have at 29,904. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring them back to their destinations safely. Alhamdulillah for a successful airlift. We also that the subsequent flights that will be coming will also be a very successful one,
inshallah. And also we will try to establish contact with our guest on the show today, which inshallah we will be having an interview session with him, because he is a stakeholder in the Hajj operations. We might not be letting the cat out of the bag just yet, yes, because I want us to very key stakeholder. I want us to establish contact with him first before I will reveal such information to our listener. But we will also be looking at some other stories that has to do with Hajj operation for this year, talking about 1444 after Hijrah, and also which is equivalent to 2023 in the Gregorian calendar. You know, a couple
nice.
of
17th July.
There were a lot of controversy surrounding the activities or the operations, Hajj operations this year, which also led to the House of Reps setting up a investigative committee to look into it. That once the Hajj committee is being constituted in the House, it will first of all investigate this issue of anomalies that characterize this year's Hajj operation. But on a different note, we also have a report from a key stakeholder in terms of media coverage, yes, of this year's Hajj, talking about the independent Hajj reporters, where we tried our best on numerous times to have a conversation with the coordinator of the independent Hajj reporters, but unfortunately the network did not allow us to do that. But we have a report here from there, which I will inshallah read. It says independent Hajj reporters is aware of the challenges faced in this year's Hajj exercise owing to recent change of policy by Saudi Arabian authorities regarding service provision to the guests of Allah. These challenges raise a lot of issues by Hajj participating countries, which were widely reported by the media. Independent Hajj reporters, in a statement signed by its national coordinator Ibrahim Muhammad, said it is sacrosanct that pilgrims deserve to be served commensurate to services paid for.
Definitely.
However, serving over 2.3 million pilgrims by providing accommodation, transportation, feeding, medical services and guidance in the same place at the same time requires multi-departmental support and cooperation of all concerned. The statement also said that most Hajj participating countries have blamed Saudi-based services providers for the epileptic services rendered this year, especially during the 5-day stay at Mashair. While we acknowledge the grievances, we must also acknowledge that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia deserves commendation for her effort in catering for increased demands of providing basic services for pilgrims all year round. Every year, officials at the kingdom, under the able leadership of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz, and the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman, put on their thinking caps and design policies that will make Hajj better than previous years. They always undertake review of the immediate past Hajj operations and identify all areas of challenges, and then come up with the policies that will address these challenges. That is why countries witness new policies almost every year, and it is aimed at making the Hajj easier and better for the guests of Allah. They went further to say 10 to 5% service failure doesn't amount to total failure, deserving of complete condemnation. More importantly, the kingdom indirectly admitted this year's operational lapses when, for the first time, the Minister of Hajj and Umrah released the 2024 Hajj calendar of events a week after 2023 Hajj, subjecting the allotment of 10th to 1st to be ready basis. The CSO also said there is probably no country in the world that can do what the Saudis are doing regarding the running of Hajj and Umrah, adding, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue to bless them and give them more wisdom and energy to continue serving his guests in the best way possible. Finally, they said we wish to recommend that authorities in the kingdom consider carrying along Hajj participating countries while planning for upcoming Hajj operations. Opinions of Hajj participating countries should be sought and considered while designing policies that will be implemented by them eventually.
Definitely, this is a very, very good should I say submission from the independent Hajj reporters. Of course, when you look at the whole package of the Hajj, starting with processing of the visa, you understand, collaborative efforts with other stakeholders like the CBN, that is at home here. I'm giving example of Nigeria here. Then airlifting pilgrims out there to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, providing accommodation, taking care of them in Medina and in other places. Then, so if many of the services, if for example you have maybe 10 services that are supposed to be rendered to you, including feeding and accommodation, and then you have just about 2 that was not rendered, I think they are not perfect. They are always human, and there's always room for improvement. So I think it's important to, in a way, I'm not saying people should pay money where they don't get value for it. No, but you can always cut some slack, considering the fact that they are hosting over almost 3 million people, if I can put it that way, almost 3 million people. So it's very, very important that people try to see this not just from the demand point of view, that is the pilgrims point of view, but also the supply point of view. From the supply point of view, that is the regulators, the Hajj Commission, the the officials and all that, they have to perhaps up their game, you understand. And I believe at least we also heard about the committees that have been set up from the Saudi authorities and also from the Nigerian authorities to investigate and also come up with recommendations on what is to be done, so as not to have a repeat or a reoccurrence of certain incidents that happened, like the tent issue, some feeding issues and all that. Even the National Hajj Commission chairman called invaders. You understand? Of course, the other day we were speaking to him. He said they don't have control over certain areas. They don't have police. They don't have so. And then, so it's important that, especially as for me, I think food is very important. Feeding is very, very important. That aspect of not giving people what they are used to, I think it's quite simple from my end, from the way I look at it, because when you consider the fact that participating countries have various kinds of food that they'd like to eat or that they are used to, even if it is a common food, a food as common as rice, you understand?
Yeah.
How perhaps even the way a Chinese prepares his rice is very different from the way a Nigerian prepares his rice. Even within the African continent, you have the Senegalese rice, you have the Ghanaian rice, you have the Nigerian jollof rice. So all these things differ. So I think it's important to carry along the caterers through the regulators. Of course, you have well-trained caterers that will put these things together.
Yeah, inshallah. I think this is going to be a very huge step. If at all they implement that, it's going to go a long way in terms of taking away all of these challenges, especially as regarding feeding, because it is very essential. What people eat there, they pay services, and you don't get commiserate respond or feed service. You pay for a service, and you get to enjoy what you pay for. Then at least you're not going to be happy, and it's a very good way for us to go at that. And another thing that we should also be looking at today is a particular news that came in through the independent Hajj reporters, where we talked about Nigeria and Ghana the other day. Ghanaians coming to learn from the Nigerian authorities, talking about the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. So we also have some information that we tend to share with our listener concerning Hajj, because yes, we talk predominantly about Nigerian pilgrims, but we also give you news that concern other countries, so long as it's related to Hajj operations. And this is not different, that Kuwait announces new guidelines for 2024 Hajj. And another thing is that we tend to learn from other countries as well. Whatever they do that works for them, we can
always copy and then localize it.
Yeah. Kuwait's Department of Hajj and Umrah Affairs at the Ministry of Awqaf has announced new guidelines for the upcoming 2024 Hajj season. These rules, recommended by relevant Saudi authorities, aim to facilitate the early preparation of approved Hajj campaigns. Housing, contract, and sacred site assignment are due to be completed by February 25th. Hajj visas will start being issued from March 1st, with the electronic application platform closing on April 29. Pilgrims are expected to start arriving in the Holy Land from May 9th. Electronic registration via the dedicated platform will open on September 1st and continue for 2 months. The screening process for applications will be guided by 3 proposals, one of which will be approved by the Supreme Committee for Hajj. Priority will be for those who have not previously made the Hajj, and the first proposal suggests a lottery system, while the second is based on age ratios. For the age ratio, those age 50 and above would comprise 25% of the 8,000 pilgrims. Those age 30 to 49 would make up 50%, and those age 18 to 30 would represent 25%. The third proposal considers favoring the oldest applicants. Furthermore, the Supreme Committee for Hajj will consider another proposal to categorize the campaign into 3 categories: gold, silver, and bronze. The gold category will have 5% increase in the number of pilgrims and is required to provide 5-star services, including modern cars of at least 2024 model, hotels overlooking the Haram and close to the central area, and other VIP services. The silver category is obliged to provide services such as nearby housing to the campus, cars no older than the 2021 model, while the bronze category will be required to offer 4-star services only. The Ministry of Awqaf is also set to implement a new mechanism to address the high number of pilgrims as well. So these are updates that we are able to bring to you on the show today. I know you have anything to add.
Yeah, it's actually a very beautiful development, and it's something to learn from. I know you didn't mention the year, so for our listeners, some of the April and May he mentioned is 2024.
Yeah, I said next year.
Okay, yeah, of course, next year. I beg your pardon. So and I think it's a very huge learning point, honestly, because Hajj is barely over. So people are still trying to go back to their various destinations, and people that have foresight, people that really mean business, are already planning for next year's Hajj. They already have dates and timelines for opening of visa applications and every other thing that entails. And one thing that caught my attention was the age categorization and the percentage given to it. So at least for each of these category, one side will not. I believe there are various reasons that as to why they did this age categories. There is also the categorization based on gold, silver, and bronze. I think what caught my attention was the 2023-2024 model cars. That should be something that's quite expensive. It should be for people that can afford it. To also comprise of beautiful hotels. That is hotels that are perhaps in very high towers and very close to the haram.
Yeah.
You also have the silver model that you have cars of 2021 model. You also have houses that are nearby, very close to the campus, and you can easily, perhaps trackable distance to the masjids. You also have the bronze category, which is also not bad, but at least it's I believe that's perhaps the lowest category, providing 4-star services. So I think this is a very, very huge step for the National Hajj Commission to learn. I think National Hajj Commission needs to expand its nets beyond Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is the hosting country, but I think it's important for them to also widen their net to countries like this Kuwait now, and then some other, perhaps even Indonesia. You understand? Because those countries have very huge and constant participation of their pilgrims in Hajj. So I believe no matter how small, there will be 1 or 2 things to learn from these countries and their own Hajj commissions. So we pray that Allah will give the National Hajj Commission the ability to pick up 1 or 2 things from these various Hajj commissions.
Yeah, inshallah. And you're listening to Voice of the People 96.1 FM. The program is As-Salam Peace Magazine Echoes of Hajj, a program carefully designed to bring you updates of what is happening in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, especially concerning Nigeria pilgrims over there. Just like we said during the opening, a lot of Nigerians are already back home, while some are still there in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And this is how far we can go on the program today. We try to establish contacts with a guest, a stakeholder in terms of Hajj operations in Nigeria, senior staff of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, but unfortunately we are unable to have contact with him. But inshallah, we will try our best to see if we can have him on the show tomorrow, Bismillah ta'ala. And don't forget that this program is still open for advert placement and sponsorship as well. My name is Aliu Doma,
and I remain Abdullah Usman Liman, signing out.
All right, we say we'll come back tomorrow, inshallah. Do have a lovely day ahead. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.